Well, before I jump to the future, I just want to share one thing about our guests that have really stuck with me in general, that each and every one has such a powerful and motivating story behind them. So many have overcome a lot of physical or mental health struggles. Um, and some just their situations, like you mentioned, Marlene being in a small town and things like that, where they've overcome so many challenges to create a thriving business. And that's really stuck with me with each and every guest that we've had, is their tenacity.
Welcome to Quilting on the Side, the podcast where we uncover the secrets to turning your passion for quilting into a profitable side hustle.
I'm Tori from the Quilt Patch by Tori.
And I'm Andi from True Blue Quilts. And together we're your co-hosts on this exciting journey of creativity, entrepreneurship, and all things quilting.
We're here to help you navigate the world of quilt pattern design, course creation, digital marketing, and running an online quilt business. We've been through the ups and downs ourselves, so we know what it takes to make money from your favorite hobby. So we're celebrating tonight.
We are. This is the final episode of season 1 of the Quilting on the Side podcast.
Woo! We did it!
So
it's so crazy to think that last year at this time, we weren't even thinking about podcasting. And then you came to me in January with that idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was just a random thought at the 2023 kind of goal setting session that we've done occasionally with a group of our quilting friends. And so I said, I was like, well, I have this idea. And luckily you were crazy enough to come along and really put some structure to my thoughts. So thank you. Thank you for being a great co-host and partner on this endeavor. But yeah, it's been kind of a crazy journey over the last 9 months that we've been planning about this. So talk about some of those behind the scenes issues and processes that we had to develop.
Well, I remember at the beginning of the year, like you said, we had a planning session. I had all these big plans for the year. And I'm like, I don't know, Andi. I don't know if I can fit it in. Let's see over the summer, maybe. And then I think I came back to you, if I remember right. And I was like, hey, Andi, do you still want to do a podcast in like May? And you're like, well, it was an idea. I could still do it. Like, this is like a good idea. And I was like, I think it's a great idea. Let's meet on this day. And then we got started and we decided to meet every week from then on out. And we started creating goals around it. We started building out what we would need to track everything. We started asking for guests. I remember you started with descriptions, just starting to describe it. And then I jumped in Canva and we made a logo and it started to become a reality.
Yeah, I can flip back in my journal and things, and I relied on some online courses about how to host a podcast, and figure out what all the different hosting things, because recording is pretty simple. We just jump on Zoom and chat, and then I've edited enough YouTube videos that part's easy. But in terms of structuring a show or a series of things, so that's where the planning came in really handy. And it's so nice to have a shared Google Drive that we can list all of our ideas and move things around and collaborate and keep track of all these ideas. So we're, slowly going through our topic list and our guest list. So we'll mention this several times, but we are open to anyone in the quilting world who wants to come on the show and chat with us about the journey to making your business profitable.
Yes. I love our master Excel document we have. I never really liked Excel before we worked together. And then I'm like, this has been great. I've learned so much about working with another person in my own, like, because usually when you join a team in a work setting, everything's already set up for you and you just learn how to work within it. And then we started from scratch. So we opened up Excel and we just started with that.
Yeah. I love color coding spreadsheets. That does help me stay on track when things, and get to change the colors of things. Beyond that, we started a website for quiltingontheside.com, and you set that up. So
actually, that one came out pretty fast. I jumped into Wix, found a template that worked for us really well, and then I adjusted the main pages to set us up. And then after we got the RSS feed, which was a huge step, we really got confused about what that was and how to apply that and how to get that to Apple and Spotify and the website. And then you figured that out, how to get on the website. And then I made it look pretty.
Yeah. Yep. So I think we both are pretty comfortable with Canva and jumping in and making graphics for social media. So again, using that shared drive to just send images back and forth has been really smooth and easy. What do you think? What are you looking at in terms of the process that we need to improve in the future?
I think we need to maybe figure out a better way. I think we need to hire an editor.
Yeah,
first off, and take that bulk off of your plate so that we have more time for our own businesses as well as our podcast, because this has been a blast and really helpful and really just wonderful to be able to reach so many new people and talk to our quilting community. It's been amazing, but we do need to get the editing, I think, off your plate. And I think that getting the transcripts was really helpful for me for marketing. And then we kind of fell off that boat a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I did not take the time that I needed to pull quotes as I needed to, because I had to go through and listen to some. And it was a lot to try to do my own launches and try to pull quotes because I was always too focused on what I was writing and not listening closely.
Yeah, that having that assistant, because I know we had someone early on that was kind of helping with that social media side of it. And it adds another layer to our business for the folks that are just finding us. We both have a full-time job outside of the quilt industry. And then we have our independent quilt related businesses. And then we're doing this podcast. So it really is a third business that we're trying to juggle in there. But, busy moms get things done. So
we do.
We'll just keep on with that. So what were some of your best memories of our episodes and our guests?
Oh, best memories. I was really proud of you for that episode where I couldn't really be here. I don't know if anyone noticed, but when we had Rachel on, my kids were so sick and I was in here for maybe 10 minutes and I got to say hi and I got to ask a question. And then I had to go because my kids were not doing well and I had to be there. And Andi took over and edited it like I was there the whole time.
Yeah, the magic of television. But that also goes to just your flexibility and your willingness to show up whenever we need to. You were able to come on for those few minutes, and then we just made it work in some of our other conversations. The following week, we were able to record. And as you know, we add those takeaways. So that was another great idea that Tori had for the show, was to interview people, to have our discussion, and then share takeaways, because that's always so important to cement any learning, is to reflect on it. And I am not the best at doing that, but I'm getting better with your guidance. So thank you for including that part in our show.
Aw, thank you, Andi. And you are really good at questions. I sometimes just pop in out of nowhere because, like I said, sometimes I come in like, what did they say? Dust flying or something. And Annie's here with questions and prepared. And I'm like, this is amazing. I love this guest. And I've been thinking about this all week, but I have nothing written. And I'm like, yeah, that was amazing. And Andi pops out these questions that are thought provoking and creates this great conversation, pulls stories out of our guests that are amazing. I'm just like, this is so cool. And I feel like I'm just part of the audience sometimes because you do such a great job with the questions.
Oh, well, thank you. No, I think you bring such interesting guests, and that's what it has been so fun, is this mix of people, because I had connections to Becca from Sugar Sand Quilt Company, who was our very first guest. So that was really fun talking to her. And Jen Schaefer, Patterns by Jen, talked all about her monthly color challenge that she has built a great following for. So those were two connections that I was able to bring on the show. And then your connections, Tori.
Yeah, I brought in Debbie from Debbie Went Quilting. She has just such fun stories. We're definitely going to have her back, I think, if she's agreeing to it. If she has agreed to it or anything, but I would like to have her back to share more about her adventures. I also invited Rachel, who was another reason why I was so proud of you guys for keep going, because I was the one that brought her in and I had to skedaddle there. And then you brought in
Belle Bruner from Seem So Me. Yeah, and it's just one of those things that you see people's names over and over again, and you know they're doing great things. So it's a lot of fun to just sit down and really take a deep dive and find out more about them. Same thing with Marlene from Kissed Quilts, because I had just met her briefly several years ago. And so it was really, really fun to learn about how she has built this vibrant quilt community in a really small town. So that was fun. And then some of our more recent guests.
Beth Ann.
Yeah.
I forget how I met Beth Ann initially. I think it might have been Patchwork, but I've been following her for quite some time, and she's been doing some fun things.
Mm-hmm. And then you introduced me to Nancy of Patchwork Breeze. So
that's right.
That was another fun interview, doing just really pretty quilt work. So yeah, we're not even going to try to claim any favorites there, because they're all so wonderful. And it just, there's room for everyone. And we hope to bring a variety of people. So dreaming of the future, Tori, who would you love to see on in the future?
Well, before I jump to the future, I just want to share one thing about our guests that have really stuck with me in general, that each and every one has such a powerful and motivating story behind them. So many have overcome a lot of physical or mental health struggles. And some just their situations, like you mentioned, Marlene being in a small town and things like that, where they've overcome so many challenges to create a thriving business. And that's really stuck with me with each and every guest that we've had, is their tenacity. And I just want to point that out. But for the future, we're hoping to bring in more people who are within and on this outskirts of the quilt industry. We have things in talks with a few people, not mentioning any names yet because we're not all the way there yet. But I'm really excited about some of our future guests and what we've been noodling about.
Yep. But because one of the things that I hear over and over in the online space for anybody who's developing a course or wants to get started with an online business is that you don't have to be, the expert top of the field. You just have to be a few steps ahead of your audience. So I know there are a lot of what might be considered smaller quilters, uh, pattern designers, or people that are just getting started. And those are the people that I would love to talk about because they're so enthusiastic about quilting, and they're making it the effort. So even the slowest runner is faster than the person sitting on the couch. So
Very
give them a
true.
medal.
That's very true. So at the beginning of our podcast journey, we had set several goals for ourselves. Some of them were um crazy, I think. Like when we were like, okay, we're gonna post a new podcast. Is it post? It's not post.
Publish.
Publish. When we publish, Andi does the publishing, you can tell. Publish a podcast every week. We were like, wait, can we do that? And we worked it out, and we figured out if we do one guest every other week and then a episode for with us every other week, we could make it happen. And Andi, we did it.
Yeah.
Every
Amazing.
week for 18 weeks.
18.
We published,
Yeah.
we published a podcast. That's
And
insane.
yeah, and I had no frame of reference for the number of downloads and things. And, a lot of that stuff is just vanity metrics because we know we're not going to make millions off of this. That was never the intent. We just both are teachers at heart. And so we want to share what we've learned in hopes that it inspires some other people. But when we hit 1,000 downloads after just a few weeks, that was so incredible.
That was amazing. I'm so glad we took time to celebrate.
Yes. And that was another big moment, not necessarily a goal, but kind of a serendipitous thing that happened along the way, was having a launch party and having members of our audience be able to attend and meet them face to face. So that was really fun, and something that we can hopefully make a tradition for the Quilting on the Side group.
I think so. I think not physical, but events. I think that events can be a really fun way to help bring in our community throughout the year. And that launching party was so much fun. And you're right, that was the night we found out that we hit 1,000, wasn't it?
Probably.
At
It
the
was very
party.
close. Yeah.
Was it 1,000? Maybe it was 100 at the party.
Whatever. It was a
I don't
great moment to celebrate.
I know, it was so fun to celebrate with everyone because we did hit a milestone during that party, and now I can't remember exactly what it was. But 1,000 episodes. I can't believe we hit 1,000 episodes within our first season. I think that was amazing, especially because we're so niched. Like, not everyone is going to find Quilting on the Side and think that's my podcast. We're really talking to quilters who are starting side businesses. It's very niche.
Yep.
That was really, really exciting.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I will we can both show off a little bit here because we've got t-shirts on.
Woo! We did it.
Yep.
We had this crazy idea that we were going to make merch for our podcast, and we did it. I still have my sticker on my Tumblr. I still use my notebook. It's almost full of notes at this point.
Yep.
I'm ready to order.
It has pockets.
It has pockets. I love that. There we go. Open the pocket.
It has pockets. So, and then, so I'm wearing the t-shirt that says "It's my mom's fault." And that was just really fun when we were talking about quilting with our moms. And that's how I start off every presentation I make about quilting, is that it's my mom's fault. And so we just had to put it on a t-shirt.
I think that's my favorite quote of yours. It's my mom's fault. And I'm wearing the introverted but willing to discuss clothes.
Yep. And it's amazing how many people we've run into that say that they are introverts. And yet we talk for hours about quilting. So now that we've hit our first goal of a full season of Quilting on the Side chats, what do you have in mind for moving forward? Any goals to share?
Yeah, we're definitely still working on that 25 reviews. I saw that we got, I believe it was 4-star ratings on Spotify, and we've got 6 reviews on Apple Podcasts. So we're making headway.
Almost
I know
halfway
that,
there.
yeah, we're almost halfway, which is really exciting. Like we said, we only have one season, so I feel like that is pretty good. Putting in reviews is not something that a lot of people do routinely. So I think that just encouraging everyone to please, if you're enjoying our season, to go ahead and put in a review on your favorite podcast listening platform. And that'll help us reach new side hustlers. It'll help us bring in bigger guests or guests that are more interested in reaching a wider audience because they will see, because you can't see how many people subscribe to a podcast, but you can see how many reviews a podcast gets. And it gives you an idea of how large the audience is. So when they see that we have 6 reviews on Apple, that looks okay for such a small niched podcast. But it will be a lot harder to bring in more popular guests if they don't see the benefit in coming on and spreading their message. So anytime that you can take to put in a review, we would really appreciate it. It would really help us reach more people and bring in some really cool people to interview
Yeah.
and ask those hard questions for.
Right. Um, and it, let's run down those rapid fire questions that we like to ask of every guest. So I always ask what's a person's favorite color, because I mean, I figure mine's pretty obvious with my blue quilt and blue in my name, but other people have some fun choices there for their favorite color.
I love asking quilters that because it's always very specific. Like when you ask a person who doesn't do maybe hands-on crafts or something with a lot of color work in it, they say something like in the rainbow, like purple, blue. But you ask a quilter and it's turquoise or plum or lavender. They're very specific about their favorite color. It's like one of my favorite things to see. Are they going to go specific or are they going to go like rainbow?
Yeah, yeah. And I have learned so much by asking people what their favorite notion is or their tool. So some really good recommendations there. We'll have to compile those so we have a master list.
I'd like to include a few more maybe yes or no questions in there. I think that would be really fun. But it would be something to think on for maybe season 2. So if you, our listeners, have any suggestions, any quick questions that we can ask our guests that you're really curious about, feel free to send us an email, or you can message us on Instagram or Facebook. So any way you want to contact us, we're pretty easy to get a hold of.
Yep. And the other one that always sparks some discussion and some really good, thoughtful answers is who's inspiring you these days. And we always explain that it does not have to be quilt related, because we know that people have multifaceted lives and there's a lot going on, and you can get inspiration from anywhere. And, just hearing about the different ways people's lives are touched and the gratitude they have towards others that are inspiring them is really, really a neat thing to hear on our podcast.
I agree. I love that question. So looking to the future, we have a couple more things coming up for season 2. Well, one may be season 3. It depends on how far we can get with the planning. But we are anticipating hosting an in-person or possibly virtual retreat.
Yeah, I would love to do it in person.
So we're looking at bringing in and hosting some business related like classes, goal setting, that kind of thing, where we can work on our businesses at a retreat with other quilterpreneurs.
Yeah, so you'd have a lot of time to brainstorm about quilting and just have fun, talking about the things that work, the things you've tried that didn't hit quite like you thought they would, and get some good ideas from other business owners. So that sounds wonderful. I hope we can bring that to life and those of you that are listening, if that sounds like a good idea, please reach out to us so that we can get you on a waiting list for that.
Actually, I will go ahead and put up a wait list for that on our website. And if you are interested in hearing more about that, let us know by signing up on that wait list, just like Andi said.
Yep.
I'll put it up on our website.
And all of these crazy ideas we share in our newsletter. So if you subscribe to the Quilting on the Side newsletter, you will definitely hear more about them.
Yes.
And the other kind of consistent goal to keep this podcast going and reach more people and help out more quilters is getting some sponsors lined up in season 2 and beyond. So tell us the different ways that people can be involved, Tori.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I went ahead and actually we have a sponsorship page up now on our website. If you do want to go check it out, our first option here is just a free shout out. So if you want us to shout out your business, leave us a review and you're with your business name so we know who you are, and we would be happy to give you a shout out. We have a second option. So there's 3. So first is absolutely free. It just helps us reach more people. The second one is donate what you can, which is a completely low cost way to donate. Maybe if you buy us a cup of coffee, we'll be able to keep this podcast going because, there are a lot of costs that come with running a podcast between the website and all of the things we have to use to get this going. And then the last one is for our solopreneurs and our small businesses. We want to help support you and get the word out about your services. So we are offering a package deal with for sponsorship. So if you want to run an ad on our podcast, you can reach out and we would love to help assist you with an ad. So you can sponsor a single episode or a series of episodes, however you would like to structure that. And we're also opening, we're open to the dates right now. We don't have anything concrete. So now would be a great time to reach out if you are interested in running an ad with and sponsoring the Quilting on the Side podcast.
Yeah, and speaking of those dates, since people will be looking ahead, we are planning in 2024. So we will have a spring season of podcast episodes. So typically with our family lives, it looks like we will be able to bring you podcast episodes in the spring and again in the fall. That leaves the summer break and the winter holiday season free for us to step back a little bit. I mean, kind of production has to happen year round, but we'll have new episodes for you in the spring of 2024. So definitely visit quiltingontheside.com for all the latest and greatest information. And we just want to give a huge thank you to all of our guests, all of our listeners, all of our friends and family who have supported us along the way. It's been fun, and we look forward to many more episodes.
I couldn't say it any better, Andi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And if you enjoyed this episode of Quilting on the Side, please leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our next chat. Until then, remember to have fun in your business and do a little quilting on the side.